Welcome, everybody, to this Enlightened Masculinity episode. I have a special guest, Alex Palacio, who's a resident at our second base. So if you're new to this podcast, because a lot of people watch these recordings, this is a red pill podcast about enlightenment and masculinity. I am Yogi Chris, PhD, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, and also IMC Nation captain here at IMC Base One. We have 5 bases right now, and that's what we're talking about. So I live at Base One with the founder of IMC Nation, Arash Sapardibazar. And the whole movement of IMC is worldwide and really infiltrating and taking over the planet with these integrated philosophies. And as you'll see, I mean, this is a very strong tribe and we keep growing. 5 million views on TikTok in the first 3 months, and we keep growing. And that's just a little bit of what we do. So that's the show. This particular episode is a dialogue with Alex Palacio, who's right next to me here at Base One. He lives at Base Two, which is also in San Jose. South San Jose, and a bunch of great guys there. 5 guys live there, 4 guys live here at Base One. All the bases, there's like 30 or so guys that are based up. And so those are the top level guys in IMC Nation that are just in the United States. Pretty soon we'll have bases other places, New Zealand, Netherlands, UK, wherever they really want to get their shit together, because there's something really extra special about living with other guys that are on this path. First of all, just, man, there's so many things. I'm just going to give a little thing on it. Then I'm going to intro Alex. I'll ask him questions about his experience, and then time, depending, will go until 3:30. So we have 42 minutes. Of course, I want audience participation. Like, get Alex's perspective. You always hear me and my perspective. It'll be good to get someone else's. But first, I'll lay it out for you. So one of the things in IMC Nation, one of these philosophies that makes it IMC philosophy, different from Stoicism, from Scientology, from surrender experiment, different from the philosophy of other men, the philosophy of players and G's and pimps and fucking ladies men and pickup artists and regular guys that, get married. Different. One of these philosophies is we do not live with our woman. That's actually a principle in the philosophy here, that if you just took that and didn't live with your woman, you'd be in a different league than other men. If you could hold down a woman but not live with her, you could keep her in your orbit and not live with her, that's going to be a different level of experience. Then if you add to that, you're living with other guys, it's a different level of experience, because there's just going to be an added level of communication that's needed to kind of like, if you could hold down a woman, that means something. That means that you have qualities and abilities to communicate, at least at the minimum, that keeps a woman around. I mean, women have a lot of options this day and age. Very available for them. So if you keep a woman in your orbit, like, you got something going for you. Then if you could do that not living with her, you got something else, because that means you're more central to her life than you are to her life. Her sticking with you, because it's her agenda to live with you and keep checks on you and keep you around to raise, if she can, to get you into that role that, hey, what's up, Adam? That is a provider male. It's not that we don't provide, but we're just not stuck in that role of provider male. Then if you take it to the next level and live with other guys, now that's going to, if you can hold that down for a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, that means that you have some level of communication that can smoothly live with other men that are doing their thing. It's going to be very difficult. And if you do, let's say you get some random guys, you just get a housemate or some old college buddies or something, there's going to be a lot of seclusion. You don't interact with them in certain ways. Eventually, the communication will break down. You're not going to last very long. And while it lasted, it was like you were living with yourself, but with some other guys. And so another level above that is living with guys that are actually your friends, that you want to hang out. You want to party with these guys. You want to have good times. You want to be able to talk with them, get along. You want to be out in the world and be seen with these people. That's going to be next to impossible. Good luck finding guys that you can do that with. Outside of IMC, anywhere, guys that have friends as adults, like after college, after fucking fraternity phase and binge drinking and all that stuff. They're not drinking buddies. And even that won't work. Won't work out for the long term. Like, good luck living with other adult men. So men, they either end up living with their woman, or they live with their parents, or they lone wolf it, which doesn't necessarily mean they're tough guys. They could also be just secluded and become weird. Living with other people, we're social creatures. We're more powerful when we have backup. And if they're friends, man, and if they're strong friends. Now, if you get into IMC Nation, that's what makes this work. Because like I said, it's not, you can make it work with just some other guys. You could get a room somewhere and technically you live in a house with like other guys that are there. But the interaction will be so minimal, especially because of women getting between you. There'll be jealousy. He'll be jealous because she gave eyes to you, or you were flirting with him, and there'll be a fight about it, or whatever. I don't even know how the normies do it. But if you live with IMC guys, how we treat our relationships and the women in our life and women in our brothers' lives and the other men that we live with makes it work. It's a principle. It's a core principle. There are other principles like the disciplines and the wake up and, being on a path of evolution, meditation and whatever physical routines. You're a physical person. You're not just like a deadbeat, pudgy, computer software guy, but you respect everybody's like, women. That's you'll get along, but you won't be on this path. You'll get left behind and you will get butthurt about some things. And you won't be able to hold up your code about women and treating other guys women's if you can't even hold up any discipline with your physicality and your own personal evolution. So we're like 3 or 4 steps above the normal guy when it comes to living in a base with other IMC men, making it work, getting along and growing forward. And that goes unrecognized until you start to try to live in a base. Like I'm always telling Prophet's always say, oh, he's on. Shit, I didn't even see him. Prophet was always saying when he finally got to Phoenix, he was like, man, you were right. It was way more difficult than I thought. Like people flake, people don't reply when you're trying to organize living in a base. People say they're all about it, then they just kind of fall off because they don't have the money, they don't have the credit, they don't have their shit together. They don't want to move. Last minute, they get cold feet, something happens. And then when you finally get into the city, then you got to get Airbnbs and move into a base, and then you're going to have to furnish it. There'll be more and more adventures, but that's where you see that your evolution is far above the common man that's just like alone doing his thing or living with his woman, relying on her and whatever. And doing nothing else, just living in a base with other IMC men, you will evolve very quickly relative to if you hadn't. Now add on top of that going to trainings and everything, that's a whole other thing. So here we have Alex Palacio, who's made it past a lot of those steps, and he's in an IMC base, base 2, where we have a base leader and 4 other beasts, he's one of them. Up until now, he's been a resident of that base, and he's about to graduate his guardian training, which gives him the next level of rank. There's a base leader, then there's guardian, then there's just residents, which is already so many levels above the regular guy. But there's so many levels above that here in IMC Nation on this evolution. So he's about to graduate from resident to pending guardian. We're pending a pending period. I think there's another word I'm looking for. I haven't found it yet. That pending period, then he'll officially become a guardian, should probably happen really fast. And you'll see how the guys that are here, I mean, some people are new, people are watching the recording, so maybe you won't see. But the people that know base 2, you'll see how more fluid they become, how more integrated, how more enthusiastic they all become, including Will, the base leader, and all the residents there, including Palacio. They'll brighten up. There'll be more creation, more things to get excited about, more production, like Alex was saying, and we'll get to that in a second. His production increased while he's been living here at base 1, even though we live so simply. And that's part of what it takes. So you're in IMC Nation, you want to live in a base, you get the guys together, you live in a base. Now, how do you rank up and become a guardian or a base leader? You come to base 1, IMC Base 1, Stoic Temple in Campbell, California, and you stay residency here until when? Until you graduate. When is that? When it's decided by the founder, and it'll be pretty obvious that also to everybody else that you've graduated to guardian or base leader or whatever you're doing your training for. And why should you come to base 1 to do that? This is the subject of the podcast. Why come to base 1 to be a guardian in a base? Hopefully everything I just said made sense. Why live in a base? I could probably go on about it and we could talk about that. But now that you know that you want to live in a base with other IMC guys, now why do you invest in coming and living on the floor with no furniture while we're all also living? He's in the living room. The main living room is his room, which is the public room. We give him his space before and after, but that's what it is. You come here and you pay a bunch of money, and what is the value of this training and why is it essential? And we'll do a follow-up with Alex when he goes back to base 2 after he lives for a few weeks, and we'll see how this integrated there. But he's already had that experience because he's come, stayed, and then went back, and then come back and stayed some more and went back. And this last time he's been here for over a week, And now he's going back, and he's probably, I think, about to graduate real fast, like in the next day, I would assume, or really soon thereafter. So here's Alex Palacio. Brother, have you ever been on Enlightened Masculinity before, like as a guest?
Probably a while back. It's been quite some time.
So that's real exciting. I hope maybe Tony, or you could tell Jeremiah, other staff, IMC staff, to go back and find the previous episode with Alex. Let's do it before and after.
We did one right when I was moving from the East Bay over to here. Right in that phase.
Okay, so we continue. So you're from East Bay, and the people that don't know that, about how far of a drive is that from here?
So the East Bay is about a 45-minute drive from San Jose. It's still the Bay Area, just the east part of it, the East Bay region of the Bay Area.
So about 45 minutes east of here. Spent a lot of you've been raised around this area?
Pretty much, yeah. I when I was a kid, when I was younger, I would come out here quite a bit.
And guys, we'll get to all the questions. If you keep your hand up, I think it'll show me in the order also, or comments or whatever. Or if it's something time relevant to like what we're saying in the moment, just type it. And okay, so you're from around.
Can I share this link with the general public?
Yeah. I mean, I don't recommend inviting any women that you're talking to, but yeah, of course, public lecture, public podcast, because the recording gets posted also public. So, you're from around an hour from here. You came here to Base 2. Base 2's been through so many transitions of different residents there, and at some point it was down to 2, and we thought Base 2 might be dissolving, and then all of a sudden we got 1, 2, 3 new people. Now it's humming again with 5 people, 5 really top level guys that have their shit together. So so that's when we did our first. About when was that? Probably like February, March, April. January, February of 2022. So that's about a year ago is when that episode would be, DK. All right, so a year later, after living in a base, you decided to step up and do guardian training. What was that decision? Why did you do that?
Well, I think the decision behind becoming a guardian, well, first and foremost, I know that I want to become a base leader one day, and I know that there's going to be more multiplication of these bases in the future. So there is going to be a demand for that expansion.
We were just talking about if you got Amazon stock because you were starting out with them in their startup, 10 years later, 20 years later, you had a lot of money. And if you invest in IMC Nation as these bases, I mean, after 1 year, we have 5 bases. Really, after 2 years, the first year it was just 1 base. Then in year 2, we got 4 more bases. And this movement, I think, is taking over the planet. It's not going to be everybody. It'll still be a minority, but a minority of 5 billion men on this planet is still a lot of people. And that's going to be quite a movement, especially in all sense of business. And we'll get to that on higher level things. That's when we talk officers meeting or crusade meetings. That's where we talk, which are like our financial investors or sharks. They're our business, our fucking billionaires in our group. And so we talk about that next level of it. But yeah, it's a rising stock. And so you jumped in on it. And
exactly. Yeah. And I mean, we've all invested so much time in our knowledge to AZD. We're accumulating more and more wisdom. Our lives are getting better. We're becoming stronger. And we're able to help out the people around us, right? So as things grow and they expand, it's the most logical opportunity to be able to plug in even more of that knowledge, because as the time goes on, there's going to be a new generation of IMC behind us coming. The new generation is already coming.
It's already happening. We're at 230 something or 240 on Dragon's Lair. Yep. Those are paying members in our fucking spiritual gang.
Exactly. So everybody who's on this chat, if you've been around for a while and you have that knowledge, there's going to be a new generation behind us that's going to be in IMC, that's going to want to learn all the things that we already know, whether it's the fucking beast process, anything having to do with the women, anything business related. I mean, there's so much.
And really, that's the glorious stuff. That's the real attractive stuff to learn. What they don't realize they need to learn is how to get along with other IMC men in a base.
That too.
That's like not a product out there, but how much evolution was needed just to get to that place. And then once you get in it, you've lived there for a year before you came into a guardian training.
Exactly.
Or about 10 months before you started.
Yeah.
So there was probably a lot of evolution in how to communicate with these other alpha men that you're living with.
Yeah. Yeah. So the process of being with the guys at first, I mean, I knew right off the bat that through being with IMC and being around these guys, that everyone was already going to be pretty sharp, right? As sharp as they can be at that time. as opposed to just replying to a fucking Craigslist ad and living with some random people.
Lazy, regular people that are just live comfortably.
You don't know
They
who
seek
the
comfort.
Right. And you don't know who the fuck these people are. They're just some fucking randoms out there. I don't know who's gonna have what habit, who's gonna be lazy, peeing on the fucking seat. And I hear about these stories all the time because when I tell people about the situation, our living situation, the way we live at base 2, it blows people's fucking mind. Because as simple as like, people be like, yeah, I got this roommate. He has a lot of baby mama drama. I got this roommate. He leaves
we don't deal
trash
with that.
dishes everywhere. We don't deal with any of that shit.
Okay, so you're at base 2 and you're so you live it for 10 months, you decide to step it up and do the guardian training. What's that been like? So you came 20 minutes over here across town, you bring your blankets, you bring your stuff, you work out of base 1, you're living on the floor, your production level. Like, what can you say about, you came like 3 or 4 times. This is the last time, I think, and it's a longer stay. Like, what are some things that maybe people wouldn't think it would be like, or what are some adjustments you've made inside, or anything notable that stands out about your experience here?
Yeah, I want to say one thing, because this actually ties into it very well. Back in 2020, I did a 3-day residency, long time ago, during the midst of the original beasting process.
So it's like during lockdown,
During
the
lockdown.
world is locked down, so there's not socially things to do.
Right.
And Alex came and stayed at the base, which was a previous base, a different house. This one's permanent because it's purchased its own. The other one was rented.
Right. Now it was during the midst of the original phase 1 when we were all beasting out, when we were doing tons of calisthenics, waking up early as hell in the morning, 2, 3 in the morning. People were hosing down in cold water outside. Like, it was an intense time period. It was a great fucking time period. And that 3 days that I stayed during that time period, it changed the whole entire beast process for me for the entire 2020, 2021. It completely set like a whole new theme, flavor, dynamic of how I beasted when I took it back with me to the East Bay.
So your first 3-day residency 3 years ago, changed how you were living.
Basically, yeah.
And then, so what's this one then?
Just in that 3 days. So knowing that,
Or how's this been different?
yeah. So knowing that coming here, I already knew this was going to be this is going to have some.
Okay. So what did you know
impact.
from that first one? How did you know, like, what was it that changed in you exactly?
I understood more. I had a deeper understanding of the process and what AZD was doing, how everybody was living.
What deeper understandings did you deepen?
A lot of the structure and how the exact recipe of how you guys did it, how you went outside, how everybody worked out as a group. It was early in the morning, little things like you guys were like lighting incense, very small details, oming in the morning. These were things that I didn't register at the time.
Yes, there are tons of details in the process that keeps us very mindful throughout the day that maybe doesn't get lectured about, and we don't have it like written down for somebody. So, coming in, and it's organic too. So even if you wrote it down a month later, it's different. And that's part of the teaching. That's part of the lesson. It's part of the philosophy. It's very organic evolution. So yeah, so you learned a lot of the details in between the lines. You came and did your first 3 days of residency.
Yeah.
And so now, okay. So you knew that it would be dope. And so you came back this time, and what's it been like?
All right. So this time being here, man, being here for an even longer amount of time than 3 days, because 3 days wasn't enough. Now I've been here for fucking 2 weeks now at this point, right? So I noticed even more just the overall structure, even more in depth now, the discipline of everybody in the house. And I feel very different. Coming at the end of this, I feel extremely different.
Different how? What's different about it?
I feel just so much more sharper. I feel like way more focused. It's as if I mentioned this before, like even if you're falling off your process a little bit, which I don't think I was, but like it put me in a streamline to just be like, fuck, my discipline, my wake up, because you can't be sloppy here at all. There is zero room for that. You can't, because everybody in the house is aware.
You became more aware of like how you were living sloppily.
High awareness. Yeah. Just little details though, because for me, it was small little things like being mindful of locking the door, as simple as that. Mindful of turning off the heater, just very little things. Being extremely aware at all times.
Yeah, totally. Courteous things. Like I said, you were the other alpha men, so nobody wants to be violated. So if there's piss on the seat or hairs in the sink, or you didn't wash a dish, or the curtains weren't closed, or whatever, or you went out with your girl and forgot to text the group so that the group doesn't, because what the fuck is the point of living in a tribe if we don't know where the fucking tribesman is? He's off with some fucking girl. So, and there's tons and tons, the list goes on. So these calibrations of how to do it, I mean, that just tightens you up, sharpens you up. That's why it's going to be smoother when you go back to your base.
Yeah.
Less miscommunications or absent communications.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's one of the major things that I see already happening is just becoming even more sharp, even more aware. Like, fuck, man. I feel really good just being around being around AZD and the guys and the experiences that I got to see. What they have going on behind the scenes is stuff that you're not going to get just from, you know, being on Dragon's Lair or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of, you get to see, because the creations, the photograph in our mind of what we're creating, it takes time to develop, and we don't expose it to too much light before it's developed. So there's a lot of nurturing and I just had a word, but it escapes me. But basically, the development of the vision happens behind the scenes before it's exposed to the public. And so when you come here and live here, you're part of those conversations, and you see the development, you see how things develop from the seed of idea to manifestation. You see different manifestations that are at different levels of development. So you really start to paint the picture here of the law of attraction and what's going on here. That's why I told Phoenix, like, if you can imagine it, it can be. That's what the base was. I imagined it. AZD planted the seed, but I had imagined it long before through AZD giving me law of attraction type questions and me seeing it, the base with the wooden floors and the yoga, teaching yoga out of it. That's what base one was for me.
Yeah. And I really fucking admire the creation of everything around here. Just being, every day is creation. Every fucking day around here is creation at all times. So it's like, what are you doing if you're not creating on this fucking level? That's what it's really inspired in me, is just simply to fucking create. All the bases need to be creating as much as we can. So it's just a big reminder that we got to create. We have to create.
Yeah. So, okay. So, is there anything else to be said about your experience that stands out? And then we'll take any questions.
Let's see here.
Your experience here, like the guys, they don't live here.
Man.
In some cases, they're abroad. They're in other countries. Like, what changes have happened in you?
Yeah.
Or, you know, notable experiences that wouldn't be available unless you were here.
Yeah. So I think another way too is is seeing everybody's diets, the way that everybody goes on about their work schedule around here too, I think is very, very important. Because no one in this base is currently in a 9-to-5 or anything like that. No one here is going to a job. Everyone here is pretty much full entrepreneur mode, which is it's amazing to see, and it's a reminder to me too to always strive to have as much freedom as possible, because the way that you guys operate around here is just it's just ridiculous.
What is that?
It's high productivity.
What does that mean?
And you guys have the time to do it. You guys aren't fucking slaving away at some job somewhere. You're tapped into what it is that you're doing in IMC as your jobs, and it's like that all day. You're just on it.
And that's surprising, or is that
It's inspiring.
It's inspiring.
It's inspiring. Yeah.
I know no other way.
Yeah.
It's like I told my dad, I don't know another way, Dad. He was like, there is no other way, son.
Yep. Yeah, I think off the top of my mind right now, that's about it.
All right. Thank you. Man, I'm inspired. That was inspiring. Okay. Does anybody in the audience, got a big audience? Anybody have comments or feedback? Keeping it on topic, of course. Yep.
Yeah, I got a question.
All right, let's go Profit and then Powerhouse.
Yeah, I hear you keep talking about the creations that are going on at Base One and how everyone is steady creating.
Yeah, this is Profit from Base 5. Everybody should know that. And you create your post. This is Profit he moved from Houston into Base 5, Phoenix, where we have 6 guys living, 6 IMC warriors.
Yeah, so when you speak about these creations, can you go more into detail on like what you see each guy creating, and how to
Yeah, from Palacio's perspective, I'd like to hear this.
All right. So first of all, you got Sultan on the IMC sales team, and he's literally creating his position in the sales team right now. He's putting in the most work from what I know, and currently right now has the highest stats in getting people on board into Dragon's Lair.
Second highest.
Second highest? Oh, this guy's probably the highest right here. But nevertheless, he's creating his position every single day, and he's treating it as his full-time job from what I notice. And also,
I would replace full-time job with his path, his purpose.
his path or his purpose. There we go. That was some too normie of language right there. His
Yeah,
purpose.
well,
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Just gonna get my phone charger real quick while you continue.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Also, AZD, he's been having a lot of business meetings with the guys over here, just on like IMC TV and whatnot. The plans are very, very intricate. And when AZD is in that creation mode, like when we're just at a pizza table, it's just idea, bam, 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 bam. Observing the way that his mind works like that. Like the ideas, they come fast and they roll quick. So like he's a beast at that. Yeah. And then we got Yogi Chris here. Yogi Chris is basically, not only is he managing Ninth Limb right now, but you're
Which
also
isn't much. There's not, I mean, that's just silent. Ninth Limb at this point is occasionally posting a video on YouTube, which is a clip from something. And I teach my silent flute lecture once a week. And I teach a woman's yoga class once a week. So that's Ninth Limb right now. And I do my own. I practice yoga, but that's not value added to anybody but myself, really, unless I teach.
Yeah. But also you're handling the huge portion of the IMC side. You also have been helping out Sultan a lot lately and just growing all of that. So everything is growth. That's what I see, just all growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll add to that. So we have the IMC staff that I run the IMC Base One website and the YouTube channel, and we have 2 YouTube channels. IMC TV is coming out, and there's all kinds of side. We also, there's all kinds of like little details that are involved in that, but basically running the website and the YouTube channels. Then I have the marketing staff that does mostly TikTok, where we got 5 million views. It's a whole different staff of people. And then we also have the sales staff. And these are like the outreach, human relations people. It's a whole new staff of people. So it's about 15 to 16 people. And then I also run the officers meetings and the crusade meetings. I don't run it. There's a different word for it, but I'm kind of like the speaker. I'm like the organizer or something for it. So that's all creating IMC, all 5 of those meetings. And so that's what I do.
Yeah. That's what I observe.
And of course, still the events. And then I'm the talent scout manager. I manage the talent scouts. Right now, I have 1 talent scout under me, my girl. And she's killing it. She's slaughtering the competition. She gets 2/3, 3/4 of the models, and that's part of this game. Good luck to you trying to make that happen without these teachings. And what are these teachings is, man, it's really, they just make sense. But, and almost all of it's in your mind. That's what teachings are. So it's a mindset and it's how you communicate. Not for the subject of this podcast. So if you want that, then the link is in the description for this to join Dragon's Lair. Join the Dragon's Lair if you're listening to this. That's where you learn how to do this. I mean, this lifestyle is very fulfilling, very enriching, very evolutionary. You learn to appreciate your own mind, your mindset, your imagination, communication, your relationships with men and women, with your parents, with everybody. Whole life changes. It becomes richer, less mundane, more colorful and 3-dimensional, less 2-dimensional and black and white. All right. Any other feedback towards Alex on his guardian training or anything about base? Yeah, go ahead. Oh, we had Powerhouse was next, and then Phoenix.
Powerhouse.
Yeah. So my question is for AP, when you come across a situation with base members, such as the cleanliness of the house, how do you guys go about assigning or taking responsibility, calling somebody out, things of that nature regarding cleanliness?
Yeah, so everybody at base 2 is just we're first and foremost, we're already extremely clean, so the place is generally most of the time it's damn near spotless. If there is stuff that's laying out, it's as simple as we take a picture of it, we put it in the group chat and be like, who the fuck left this here? And then someone just owns up to it. It's simple. It's kind of like an honor system. Everyone will always just own up to, oh, that was mine, my bad. I won't do that again. Oh, that was mine, my bad. I was rushing. For example, we don't like to leave the shoes out by the door. We have cubbies that we put the shoes into. So always put your shoes into the cubby. Just don't leave them out. Otherwise, I will take a photo.
And that's different than here. We don't have cubbies.
Yeah.
So each base is different.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Bathrooms, it's very simple. If something needs to be attended to, just attend to it. Toilet paper roll. It's so simple. Just replace it. The showers stay very clean as well too. Occasionally, I'll clean them. Someone else will clean them. We never have a problem with who's going to clean what or do what when. It always just seems to get done.
I think there's an agreement of standards.
Yeah.
So you just got to come to an agreement, which as their hierarchy forms, that's really whatever the base leader wants.
Yeah.
But he's come and done the most training, so he's going to have the closest standards to IMC Base One. And
Yep.
we're the example of this project working.
Yeah. Yeah. So currently right now, the structure with the cleaning, the house just keeps itself clean. That's what it feels like to me, honestly. It's just a very clean place.
The people keep it clean.
The people keep it
The
clean.
people
Yeah.
keep it up. Even here, we'll get a cleaning lady or whatever. Shout out to Oracle, who sponsors that a lot of times.
Yeah.
And all right, anything else? Phoenix, you were next.
What's brother? Actually, my question was covered earlier, but I'll just make a comment quickly. I remember the first day you went into start facing up, and there is a complete difference in you.
Who, Alex or me?
Oh no, Alex, definitely.
Yeah.
There was like a nervousness in your voice, which is not there anymore. There's a new power you're carrying through, slowness and stuff. So I'm looking forward to having another brother with me too, because you guys just checked each other earlier with the normie talk, and that's one of the big benefits you find with having a brother around. You're gonna have someone that's gonna always have your back and check you, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and the calibration of that.
Yeah.
We're all teachers, and we're all so wise because we all study this stuff and we all get what we get from it. And maybe our friend, our brother, didn't get the same thing we got from it. So we got something to correct them on. They got something to correct us on. But we're not each other's teacher. We're not each other's student. So how to correct an alpha man who isn't necessarily looking to be corrected, that's the calibration of learning to live with other guys. And that's why hierarchy is also very important. Somebody should be more right than the other guy. Otherwise, there will be a pecking order established, and it'll be like the more evolved person on whatever level that matters to the group.
Yeah, exactly. And the corrections always come from a place of wanting to see the other person grow. Whereas with other people, their corrections sometimes come with that hint of they're trying to keep you down, right? Or it's just coming from a wrong frame. Whenever we correct each other, it's because we just want to see each other grow. Simple as that. And just like having the brothers with you,
Which is a group dynamic. In Scientology, that would be a group dynamic.
Yeah.
So you correct each other with the idea of your third dynamic in mind, that this makes the group stronger and the group being the base.
Yeah.
Group can be on money levels. You could be IMC Nation group, but your base is also a separate group. It's within IMC, it's a smaller group, but it's your group. So if you keep in mind you're correcting for the benefit of the base, it will be more calibrated than not.
Exactly. Yeah. So
versus just you got butthurt about how somebody was doing it, and then you tried to correct them so that they didn't offend you.
Yeah.
That may not be in the interest, like if Sultan corrected Fernando, just as an example, it's never happened, but let's say says this or that, and I'm on the sidelines and I'm like, and he's like, you're living at a base, you shouldn't blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't have a problem with what you did or whatever. And so now that's like his first dynamic that he's correcting versus a third dynamic, like here at a base, you shouldn't, do this or that. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's right. And then now it's, anyway, I think I made the point.
Yeah, point. Yeah, sure. Anything else?
Yes, sir. Anything else?
Well, that's dope to know about my voice though too. That's really nice.
Yeah, for sure. You're less fidgety and more solid.
Yeah, I feel happier.
And
That's for sure.
fidgety is saying less fidgety doesn't do it justice. People, the men in the world walk with such uncertainty.
Mhm.
And so you move with more certainty.
Yeah.
And whereas before I had commented on fidgetiness,
Mhm.
which is only holding you back because you're so high level in so many areas of life, unnecessary movement would take away from that. You can imagine somebody like nervously twitching their foot or nervously like, you know, they're always like moving their thumb on their leg or something, self-soothing or something. It wasn't quite that, but you can imagine someone with excess movement. It takes away from, even if they're a great storyteller, if they keep like rubbing their leg, you're like, dude, why are you doing that? It's taken away from the story.
Yeah.
So it takes away from your effectiveness when you have, you know, unnecessary movement in your life. So moving with more certainty and focus, like you said, and direction, then, and so that's what I've noticed is a lot more of that focus and directed action.
Mhm. Yep.
Clarity, and then the smoothness in your voice, of course.
Yeah, it's something I call, it's called Johari's window. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. There's what you know about yourself, what people know about you, what you don't know about yourself, and what other people don't know about you. And you know, you can't see yourself all the time. So it's nice having that other perspective, you know,
Yeah.
view.
Yeah.
And the perspective of an IMC man is different. He's looking through different eyes. Like if a liberal snowflake were looking at you, you would get a perspective, but it might not be the feedback that, you know, you care about. So yeah, I think we've done it. Unless there's any last comments, we'll wrap it up. Of course, there's the description and in the recording with links to Dragon's Lair and advanced training and what have you. Okay, Tony K, raise your hand. This is the last comment. And then I got to go to I have training next. Got to go. I'm going.
Oh, brother, one quick question for Alex.
This is TK, IMC staff from Wisconsin. Been around a lot.
I remember staffing with you not too long ago. What's one thing that you learned staffing with Captain Chris that you applied to yourself, your brand? What's one
Who, me?
benefit? Alex.
Alex isn't on staff. Although you did it for how long?
5 months.
Okay, he did it for. Are you asking about way back when the 5 months that he did? Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Because he asked me in the beginning before you popped off class here. So
Okay.
just one thing, brother, one benefit, brother.
Yeah, and it was a long time ago. So yeah, Alex, if you can recall if there was anything dealing with that.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot there, but I know you got something.
Yeah. What I fucking learned is fucking Yogi Chris fucking gets shit done, bro. That's what I learned during that time period. And I saw how he does it and how he communicates it. And in terms of like orchestrating what he's trying to orchestrate, I was like, God damn, Yogi Chris does not fuck around. So that was kind of like an attitude that I carried in with me in my business when I was working with my own employees and getting things done. Was I was a little too lenient and relaxed, and I became more like, all right, let's, you know, we got to fucking do this here. This is what we need to do. How we got to get it done. And there's no time. We can't fuck around. So that's what I learned, was just fucking observing Chris. And that's what I did too with a lot of my past businesses that I worked in that weren't my own. Is all I did was I just observed like the bosses, like who was the boss or who was the main guy orchestrating it. How does he move? How does he interact with everyone else? How is he growing it and moving things forward? And that's the shit I like to see. And that's how I learned. So yeah.
Len, that was great.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Fuck yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for attending. IMCBase1.com is the advanced training, and we'll go again at 7 p.m. tonight. So that's in 3.5 hours. If you're catching this recording, leave a review. Don't just be a freeloader. At least give something. If you don't got $97, which is not a good condition, you can at least leave 5 stars and type out a nice review. Os, everybody.